Hi, welcome back to my channel about DID. Well, being the significant other of DID. Again, sorry about the late delay in videos here. Been a little bit of a pain with still being kind of locked down from COVID stuff still going on. And the riots here that happened in Minnesota.
And the protests.
Yeah, the protests also. Which was interesting in itself. We had a very interesting experience during that time.
That's its own story.
Yeah. If you want us to talk about it, we will. Leave that in comments. But anyways, today's video is a little bit of a kind of a catch-up about what's happened besides the riot stuff and protests. She had a little bit of a shift of the internal view of her system. Some people might somewhat say of a restructural, but from what she told me, not really. Just, I guess you can say, knock down some walls. And that is an interesting part. I don't know how detailed you want to go into that.
Well, let's try and see what you say. If I don't like it, we'll start the video over. Sorry.
But well, she had for her system, she had like 3, I guess you can say, subsystems or areas, and pretty much she kind of went through and connected the 3 of them. So instead of them being completely separate from each other and only certain parts could cross over from area to area and bring parts with, she finally went through and actually connected them. Some via like road, bridge.
Basically a way to create a larger co-consciousness and communication, and being able to find a way to create that more visually in our inner space as well.
Which has helped out quite a bit on my part with her therapist also. Being able to talk to certain parts a lot easier and not having to wait for the system itself to switch areas to see who's actually going to be able to be host and who has access to the front to be able to communicate.
And there's still challenges there. That's not to say that there isn't still barriers, mentally speaking, in place, and psychologically speaking, in place, that prevent communication between various alters. There's still plenty of that. But there's a lot less, and there's a lot greater. We have more means to get communication thrown across from one part alter area of the mind, if you will, and bring it closer to the front, to where it needs to get.
A lot less time in between.
Yeah. A lot less time.
You don't have to wait for I'm just going to throw a name of Tinkerbell to go retrieve Wendy from Neverland and bring her all the way over to Oz, per se.
Yeah.
Which that alone could take time. Now it's a lot quicker because everything's nice and connected and not necessarily a perfect fit as a whole.
No. It's not entirely cohesive.
But you got bridges, you got connections on it. Lot.
We have altars that can speak to other altars that we've been working with to increase that communication, and with, again, obviously, as we're talking about, with our internal landscape being shifted in such a way that we can kind of physically in the mind, in the internal world, that we can travel easier to get that communication done, hopefully ourselves or through other parts that we know better, that various altars are more comfortable with. Yeah.
Now, I know from what she's told me, with that little shift, a few altars that had specific jobs, I guess you can say, or titles, or however you want to name it. Jobs is a good name for it.
That's what we tend to go with. It's easy to explain out here.
Yeah. They either got more stuff thrown on their plate. Some did. Some got stuff taken away. So it was kind of a struggle for her to find that balancing act of redefining some jobs, adding I can speak, I know I can. Adding some new jobs to some altars that didn't have a job before.
For us internally, we found that giving positions, giving roles internally, giving job titles and job rights, if you will, privileges, job purposes and actions tend to be very beneficial for us in particular. We like the structure of having something that we can say, yes, this is what I do, this is how I do it, these are the parts that I communicate with, and if I can't, this is who I do go to, things of that nature. So yeah, to have those jobs internally, even if it's not something external, is very beneficial, and it helps with our cooperation and our I'm losing the word, co-consciousness, and yeah, just overall communication. It's healthy, and it's helped us with a lot of trauma work. Quicker in some cases than might be considered healthy. We've gone forward gone forward 3 steps, back 1 or 2, and then forward another 1 or 2. It's a lot of kind of figuring out what works, trying stuff, maybe trying a little bit too much and then having to backtrack, or our brain forcing us to backtrack. We've had a couple instances where we had merges that we weren't expecting and weren't ready for, and they ended up being too much for the brain to maintain. And so there was kind of a resplitting of a couple parts, because our brain just wasn't ready. The subconscious was not ready to correlate the two opposing viewpoints in most cases between those altars. It's, there's, because of the level and the amount of parts that we have, again, we are polyfragmented. There's a lot of opposing thoughts and viewpoints and ways of behaving that are very ingrained for us, and to change that can be very difficult and scary and overwhelming.
Doing good.
I'm trying. It's a lot of work.
The healing process has been long, but we'll get in there.
And I've still got a few years left. We're trying not to rush too fast. But we'll get there in time.
Sometimes it's better taking baby steps than full stride. And
I want to run.
Sometimes
I've been crawling for years. I just want to run.
Sometimes it is better to run.
Sometimes. And sometimes you got to go back to a walking pace. And that's what we're very quickly discovering for ourselves, is what is the appropriate pace of change.
think that's good.
I think that's good. If you guys have any questions,
Comments, concerns.
shouts of despair, throw them in the comments. Like the video if you like it. It helps support him. Let him know he's doing well. It helps me.
Yeah.
If you have any ideas for videos, put them in the comments as well so we know. We can, add them to the next video or put them on the list of things that we want to discuss and come up with, and all that
Hopefully it's
stuff.
not too hectic so I can get another video out here sooner than this one.
And the more things you recommend, the quicker we're probably going to get a video out there, because the more ideas we have to even talk about to everyone. So, yeah.
Busy life.
Busy life. And that's that.
Talk to you guys later.